Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm hoping some of you had a look at Father Mike's podcast yesterday and that you get hooked on it. Father Mike has got a lot of other material that he makes available. And once you get into him, I think you'll be really enthusiastic. His style of presentation is very warm and really, really interesting. So please do it. It's really worth the effort. Today is the feast of Saint Anthony, not Saint Anthony of Padua, who's the patron saint of lost things. This is Saint Anthony, who was an abbot. In other words, he gave up all his worldly goods and dedicated himself. And this is very early on in the life of the church, the first couple of 100 years. He gave up his life and dedicated it to the poor. In fact, it's said that his inspiration is probably what was followed by many of the other saints. St. Francis of Assisi being one of them, who would follow that kind of lifestyle and give up all of their worldly good. So a good inspiration. Today we're looking at Mark's Gospel chapter 2, and it's that little passage where Jesus and his disciples are walking along, and they're hungry. It's lunchtime, and they pick some corn from the side of the road, and they start eating it. And then they get challenged by the Pharisees to say, you're picking corn on the Sabbath, which means that you're harvesting. And that's work, and you're not allowed to work on the Sabbath, which they're technically correct. Then Jesus said, well, hang on, let's correct ourselves. If we ever look in the biblical scriptures, you'll see that, in fact, there are situations in the past where many of the religious leaders, particularly David, would have gone into the temple and used the sacrificial food to feed the people who are hungry. And so we should be aware of being over-technical. Having said that, Jesus says, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. The Son of Man is master even of the Sabbath. I mention this simply because I think Sundays have become like any other day. But we've got to remind ourselves that as Christians, and specifically as Catholics, we need to make a special place for God in our plans for Sunday. And not to sort of say, oh, I've got soccer practice or whatever it is, that you have allowed to get in the way. And if you've said, well, no, that in fact your religious worship and God's dedication is more important than that, then in fact we start saying, well, okay, there's got to be a list of priorities there. And you can't allow worldly goods to supersede God's. So, yeah, tough challenges, but let's make them real. You have a wonderful day. Keep yourself safe. God bless. Bye-bye.